Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. In this video, we will explore our first Apex Trigger scenario. Before we dive into the topic, I have created a dedicated video on Apex Triggers using a PUBG example. It's a fun and engaging way to understand triggers, context variables, events, and when to use them. I recommend watching that video first to get a solid foundation before proceeding with this one. You can find the link in the description or in the iCards. Now, let's get back to the topic. Scenario: adding validation using an Apex trigger. First, we need to enforce a validation rule using an Apex trigger. If the number of employees field is empty, when creating or updating an account, we want to prevent the record from being saved and show an error message. First, we need to create an Apex trigger. To implement this, let's open Developer Console and create a new Apex trigger. I will name the trigger as AccountTrigger since we are applying it on account object. Salesforce automatically provides before insert event when you create a trigger. You can add multiple events like before insert, before update, after insert, etc. depending on your use case. In our case, we need before insert and before update, because we need to validate the number of employees field before inserting or updating the record into the database. Here I am using Trigger.isBefore context variable so that before we update or insert a record into database, this should check if our employees field is blank or not. Once this is done, let's create a handler class. I will name the handler class as AccountTriggerHandler. It is a best practice to use a handler class to keep the business logic separate from trigger itself. Now let's invoke the method in our trigger. Here I am using Trigger.New context variable so that whenever we try to insert or update a record, it receives the ID. Now, in our method, let's use a parameter where list of account IDs are being received. So, this method is called from trigger and receives a list of new account records. Once this is done, let's use a loop so that this loops through each new account record being inserted or updated. Let's use the if condition to check if this particular employees field is null or not. If it is null, then we should be able to show the error message. If not, the record should be saved without any error. So let's try to find out the API name of employees field. Now let's try to see how it looks on UI. Here I am trying to create an account without employees field being filled. This is how the error message pops up. I will fill the employees field and try to save it. And the record is saved successfully. Now let's try to update the record and see how this is going to look. Here I am trying to remove the value in employees field and I'm trying to save it. In this case, it is going to give back the error message. So, if this employees field is null and you try to insert or update a record, our trigger is going to work and it is going to give back the validation. This is how we enforce a validation rule using an Apex trigger in Salesforce. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.